All right, everybody. Welcome to, look at, what is this, June 27th. We are halfway through the year, basically. You get a few bonus days this week, and then it's exactly the third quarter on Friday. So hopefully you're at least 45%, if not 50% or more towards your goal. If not, you still have half the year to catch up, which is plenty of time. Today we are very fortunate to have our general manager on, Mr. Troy Reierson. Troy, if you could please hit *6, then we can hear you. *6 and we can hear you.
Rick, can you hear me loud and clear, buddy?
You sure can.
All right,
so,
perfect,
okay.
perfect.
So this is the call, just so you know, this is the call that we have live people on. It's also the podcast. That's why I'm recording it. It goes on my podcast for life ever. So Troy, just tell them, give a little intro, how long you've been doing this, a little background on you, and all that good stuff, please.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. Thanks. And thanks for having me, man. Good morning. Happy Monday. Or whenever you're listening to this podcast, right? But live, happy Monday. Rick, for me, that's a big question there. So, gosh, Rick, I've been in and around real estate for over 20 years now. And I actually kind of cut my teeth in mortgage in the early 2000s. I was living in California. A big refi boom was coming up, and there was three gentlemen starting a mortgage company. And lo and behold, they tapped me on the shoulder and they recruited me as their first loan officer back in the early 2000s. And so once that kind of got me interested really in real estate, and obviously I bought and sold homes over the years many times, and this was just kind of the first niche into that. But from that time, it's been quite a journey. I've been into mortgage, from mortgage for many years, 6-7 years I think in total. I was in mortgage. I was actually at a startup back in the day, and those of you that know my story a little bit have heard this before, and that startup was known as Zillow back in the day. And, love or hate them, it was a company that was built by, very intelligent human beings that I had the pleasure to work with and for, and really kind of watch a tech startup in the real estate world immerse. And it was mind blowing to see all the different pivots that a company like that has to take as it really creates a new path into an industry that had never been touched that deep with technology before. And cool. From there, fast forward, Rick, on and off, and I found myself at the brand, the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services brand, maybe 6 or so years ago. I was recruited over by a very close friend of mine. We're still close friends to this day, and he was the CEO of the brand for quite some time, Mr. Chris Stewart, for those of you who know Chris. Yeah, great guy. Still keep in touch with him today, and again, just a great family friend. Well, Chris kind of gave me a call one day and said, "Hey, Troy, I've got something that I would really like you to be a part of. I'm developing this brand, this real estate brand. It's fairly new because it was, fairly new back then. And we'd like to make this the pinnacle of real estate." And, lo and behold, at the time I was doing a little something else. I was working for a technology company that was poising themselves for sale to Zillow at the time. And I was helping them build that company. And so I turned Chris down and said, "Chris, this is just not the perfect time." And Chris, being persistent and just such a great guy overall, kept on it. And within about 2 years, he had convinced me to come take a look to see what the brand Berkshire Hathaway Home Services was all about. And Rick, I think within 72 hours, he had me on a plane. The second I said, "Okay, I'll take a look at it," I had plane tickets and I was in Irvine 72 hours later.
That sounds like Chris.
Yeah.
Sounds like Gino too.
Yes, for sure. Well, and that was the time that was the first time I had ever met Gino. Chris and Gino had been together for probably 14 years or so, maybe a little less, but quite a while at that time. And walking into HSF Home Services franchise, who actually runs the brand, Gino was there. I spent a little time with him and Chris, and of course the whole cast of characters there. And I'll tell you, Rick, what attracted me most, because walking in those doors, in my mind, my mindset was, I am really not interested in figuring out how to do mergers and acquisitions for a brand, or how to increase a footprint of a real estate company and put franchises in areas where they're not before, and help our existing companies grow, not just through mergers and acquisitions, but help these existing companies grow by increasing their footprint organically as well. And after spending close to 3 days with the group at the brand, it was apparent to me that this was a very unique group. This was a group that was, I would just say, almost a master at cross-pollinating. I mean, everyone was there, and everyone had everyone's back, Rick. If I walked over to marketing, I can also walk over to the customer success team. I can also walk over to the tech and data team, and they all work harmoniously together. It was really more of a family than an office environment. And that was my biggest takeaway. And I'll never forget, Rick, by closing out, I was getting ready to leave on that third day I was there and catch a flight home. And I'd called Chris Stewart, and I said, let's grab, coffee before I get out of here. And we sat down in the Irvine Marriott, and I said, Chris, I'm in. This is an environment I'd like to be I'd really like to be a part of. And so that's what got me to the brand. And go ahead, Rick, please.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's, you got Chris Stewart, you got GB, Gino Buffari, and you've got Alan Dalton. That's, that's quite a combination.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and now, like I tell everybody, now Mark stole you, so now we have you here.
yeah, and Mark, I think many folks know this as well. Mark was one of my largest clients, and really how we got together was strategy meetings. I'd call Mark, I'd get him on the calendar, and say, okay, we've got this quarter down. What do you want to do next quarter? What do you want to do by the end of the year? And I would hold Mark accountable to many things that we talked about as well. Mark will tell you that story sometime, Rick, but I was the guy that was pushing him all the time. Mark's usually the guy that pushes us. And as I was pushing him, well, he had this opportunity, as Rick, was available for actually a little while. This role has been available, and he was just looking for, in his words, not mine, the right person for that role. And as we continued our conversations and got to know each other, we became really good friends. And he said, you know what? I think we got an amazing opportunity here. Let's see what this looks like. And the timing was perfect. So hence, Rick, why I'm here today, my friend.
Yeah. It reminds me, I don't know, do you know who Bob Pittman is? You know the name Bob Pittman?
I don't.
Bob Pittman, I was very fortunate. Bob Pittman is the guy, one of the co-founders of MTV. He also is the guy that put Six Flags back on the map, bought them and resold them. And then he bought Century 21, Realty World. So I got invited to meet him in his New York office. And he was like right above the Good Morning America show. While I was in his office, I was watching Bon Jovi play downstairs live on the, from the 100th floor. But he did the same thing. He bought all of them, put them all together. But the difference is he bought them to repackage, raise the stock, and then sell. Where we have a brand that has bought this brand and to hold and grow for life. So it's a huge difference in theory, right? And that's why it's such a great brand, because like you said, when I started 8 years ago from the company, people would be like, Berkshire Hathaway, what's that? Because, you weren't in the finance, or if you didn't have stock, you didn't know. But now the Berkshire Hathaway name is off the charts as far as, recognition and so forth. And I know everybody on the call is with us, so we don't need to be, I'm not pumping it. I'm just saying I've seen it grow even while I'm here as well. So it's a good situation to be in.
Yeah. And Rick, great point on that too. It's, it's amazing and I would say it was pretty critical in the first, 2 to 4 years, to where you would go into a market, and in that market, say we didn't have a Berkshire Hathaway. And so I would just start talking to folks and it was really an interview process on my side to see if we could find a company that would be the right fit for this brand. And, oftentimes we would leave that market, and I would just, just for lack of a better sense of the word, I would just say, I'm going to take that market, I'm going to put it on a shelf for now, because we don't have what we're looking for there. And I'm not willing to cloud up a market with somebody that's really not Berkshire Hathaway Home Services quality.
Right. Right. It's kind of like hiring agents too. It's the same type of thing. You want somebody who wants to work.
I was going to say it's very similar to what we're doing in this organization. And Rick, I know you know these stats. I was speaking with a pre-licensing class last week, and I kind of give my spiel. I start at the global level from the brand. We get down to the local level to our organization, which is super impressive. And I know probably everybody in this call knows this already, but I still can't get over this. Rick, we're the 16th largest brokerage in the country. We are not anybody else, but we are. And we're number 3 in the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Network. And as I was going through all this, I looked at the class and I just said, hey, can you tell me, does anyone in this room have any idea how many sales executives are inside the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services brand? And the home services brand of brokerages. Any idea? Show of hands. And one lady raised her hand and she says, Troy, I think there's 20,000? I said, nope, more than that. And after that, everybody was kind of like stone faced. I saw big eyes, and these are all people that are new to real estate. They don't really have any idea. And I said, so I finally came out. I said, we've got close to 50,000 people in our network. And they all just, their jaws dropped. They're like, wow, that's huge. I says, you know what? And we're not even the biggest. EXP has over 80,000. And you see their eyes getting bigger and bigger. And, C21 and REMAX, 100,000 or more, maybe a little bit less nowadays. I'm not quite sure. But and these are stats I remember from just, a year or two ago. And they're all going, wow. And I said, but you know what the most important piece about that is? And they're like, no, what? I said, do you know who does the most transactions out of all of those brands? And Rick, I know you know this already, but we do. Home Services.
Right.
Home Service of America does more transactions in the United States than any of those other brands. So isn't it interesting that we have less sales executives, yet we do a lot more transactions?
Right.
It just really speaks to who we are as a company, right? And a brand.
No doubt. No doubt, too. And I think when you said number 3 in the network, number 16, I believe, is in the world, isn't it? Number 16 real estate company in the it's in the world, not just the So that's that's one of Mark's favorite numbers. I know because I think we were 17 the year before, so we went up to 16, which is
I believe so.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. It's quite an accomplishment, and just here alone between our office, between Nevada, Arizona. 2 markets in California, we have almost 3,500 agents ourselves. So that's pretty crazy.
It's awesome. No, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
And again, looking at our per person productivity, we're bringing the right people into the organization as well. We're bringing people that are hungry, smart, aggressive, ethical, moral. They have integrity. I mean, we're bringing the right people in, and I think, Rick, that's why I'm so proud of this organization is our branch leaders are bringing the right folks to the table, and we're integrating them well within our culture.
Like the gentleman I just spoke to has been in one of my coaching, people in my coaching schedule. He listed 12 properties in 4 weeks for the first time. He's very excited about that.
That's amazing. And, it's amazing. Go ahead, Rick. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say he makes 35 to 40 contacts a day, though, to do that, and not everybody's willing to do that. So, yeah.
Wow.
So,
and it sounds like he's probably a master of follow-up too, right, Rick? I mean, you can make as many calls as you want, but that follow-up is the skill set that really needs to kick in order to get those listings too.
Well, I would say he exemplifies my term semi-stalker lead follow-up, because that's what you got to do in order to be getting it done today.
Wow.
All right. So there we go. So we got a really good picture. I mean, I love the brand too. It's incredibly good. Then, I mean, I don't want to, these guys on the call all know the tools. They have everything we have. They know exactly. And most of them on this call use it. So it's kind of exciting. Same with the people in my coaching. Now, but a lot of them are, the big talk today is the market and what's going on. And, and I preach to them, there's as much opportunity as there is concern. I don't think there's any concern really right now. I think it's more opportunity. But so from your perspective, what do you see? What do you see as far as changes and nothing? You don't have to be super specific, just to get an idea of what you see from your seat.
Sure, sure. And let me just start by saying, and this is not a canned response. This is really sincere. Is I'm really excited about what's taking place in the market right now. You know, I think many are running and they're coming from a place of fear just because things have changed. And, you know, many people will say, well, gosh, Troy, it's getting hard. I don't know if it's getting so hard. It's just different. You know, the last 2 years were hard for very different reasons. You know, we didn't have the inventory available and we had buyers coming out of the woodwork. And today we see a little bit of buyer fatigue, of course, out there. You know, people are tired. They've all been running so strong. Our sales executives, and boy, do I empathize with our sales executives. You know, so many of them. There was one I heard last week, wrote 35 offers that week and didn't even get one accepted. That's hard. That takes a lot of work. So the market in general, yes, there's a shift. I just looked this morning for just an updated stat, and it looks like the 30-year is at 5.81%. Okay, still extremely low. Rates are normalizing, and I think that's what we're forgetting. Rick, if you look back, I think it was 82. I mean, I was gosh, I'll give my age away at this point, but I think I was 10 years old. I know I was 10 years old, maybe too. You know, and rates were close to 20%. So if you look from 82 to where we're at today, I mean, they had fallen steadily for 20 years. And now they took a bounce. Let's just call it what it is. They took a bounce. They're heading up. Couple of other trends that I am watching. You know, existing home sales slightly declining 4 months in a row, but the median price is still growing. Right. So I think what we're seeing is those that they're still out there. They still want to buy a home. They're just confused, a little bit scared because they can't afford the same home that they could 1, 2, 3, even 4 months ago. And so there's a new education process that we have to take our consumers through. And we need, as rates are normalizing, we need to help normalize our consumers and our buyers at the same time. I did also see, Rick, and you probably saw this as well, new home sales are up. They were up in May almost 10%. The biggest thing that we're following right now is we still can't cover demand. Freddie Mac had put out an article last week or the week before, I think it was, and they were saying that there are now 18% more people between the ages of 25 and 34 than there were in 2006. So there's almost a 20% population increase in that age range, which equated to about 6.6 million more potential first-time home buyers. So you're seeing a surge in this area. And unfortunately, this demographic was not met with new construction. So we are still lagging behind, and the demand is still really high. I think what we're just seeing is a little bit of confusion that's taking place right now as to what now. And that's where our sales executives, most are so good at what they do, and it's just all about communication. Rick, just like in anything, right? Whether you're cold calling, whether you're warm calling, whether you're door knocking, you've got to be a master at communicating. And one of the best things we can do as communicators is what? Is listen. Yeah. Listen to their concerns. Ask them. Ask them those amazing 9 questions. I think I put it out in a video or either a month or two ago, but look at it in the eyes. What is your biggest frustration right now in regards to our home search? Or what's your biggest frustration right now that we have your home listed? I know it's taken, maybe 7 or 9 days before we got our first offer. And then really kind of walk them through that is to figuring out where they are. And then what we do as professionals, we meet them where they're at that point. So the market is changing. The market is different, but the market's still the market. As sales executives, Rick, yourself, myself, we're not going to change what we do because we still have our goals in alignment with our core values and beliefs, and that's what we're still going to move forward and do. So hopefully that answered what you were looking for, Rick.
No, it does. And I would just add to the new home sales, it's been just about 15 years since the massive, crushing we took in 2007. So we're at that 15-year mark. And if you go back, so if you start from 2007 to now, that 15 years, So that's one time increment. And you go 2007 backwards 15 years, there's only been 25% as many homes built from 2007 to now as there was the 15 years prior. So that new construction or that inventory situation has been pretty much developed. And then you have places like California and, that have tighter, building regulations and so forth. So it's really become tougher to build. And after the crush, builders and financing institutions are not willing to go out that far. So, today the new home buying process is totally different because you're reserving your home a year and a half, unless you're willing to buy one that fell through and it's already up and so forth. It's a whole different process today. Phoenix MLS is up 112% in listings over last year this time, and Nevada is very close. California is not quite there yet, but that means, there's over two times as many homes available now as there was last year. But that's still, only about less than 2 months inventory in both Nevada, Arizona, and definitely California. So it's still a healthy, I know Forrest hates this term, but I'm going to say it, seller's market. He calls it a seller's advantage market, but it's the same thing basically. So we still have all that going on. Plus, here's the other thing too, Troy. We have summer for the first time in 3 years. School's out and people are, I don't know about you, but how many people do you know on vacation right now? It's like crazy. So that's part of it.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny you say that, Rick. Last week, I think you and I were talking about this in the hallway last week, Rick, but I've even noticed the commute. So, I don't have a big commute. I live in Summerlin. I commute to Henderson when I'm in town. And it's typically 30 to 35 minute commute, roughly right around there. But I've noticed a tremendous amount of less traffic.
Oh, yeah.
And it's something I don't normally notice, but I'm not even hitting my brakes on the way in anymore. And so it tells me, to your point, though, Rick, summer started. We actually have a season.
Yeah.
We have 2 years with no season. And we were so used to seasonality in real estate. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, my gosh, I'm still working. Oh, my gosh, it's December. It's Christmas Eve. I'm still working. Our poor sales executives were just going nuts with business. And it was hard. They need to take a break, need a breath. What a great time to, take a quick breath, a quick one, because even though there is some seasonality and we do have a summer, sales prices are still going up.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I live 2 exits closer than you because mine's 26 minutes because I live in Summerlin too. But especially Mondays and Fridays. But my little joke when the pandemic started was I used to say jokingly, well, the only good thing about the pandemic is that I get on the highway, I put my cruise control on at 74, and then I don't take it off until I'm hitting the brakes at the exit. That hasn't happened in a long time.
No.
Now. Yeah.
No.
Anyway, so all right, cool. So I see a good, healthy market, and I think, and the thing is that let the naysayers be the naysayers. Let the the press over sensationalize like they're going to do, and you put your nose down, make a few more contacts, talk to a few more people, because listing property is going to get a little easier right now, right?
Yeah. Well, and I would say even buying properties is getting a little bit more easy as well, Rick. Just given the fact that our inventory numbers are going up. It's true. There's a little bit less stress in that, although we're taking that stress on, going, oh my gosh, there's more inventory. What are we going to do now? No, it's everything we wanted the last 2 years. So let's ride this wave. And our organization specifically. And remember, Rick, I used to cover 13 states. I've seen so many different organizations. This one specifically, with the training we have, with the tools we have, with the leadership we have in place, it is a very unique and incredible organization. And what I see most is that cream is going to rise to the top, and it already is rising to the top. Those that have been working hard, those that have been building their pipelines, those that are keeping in touch with their sphere of influence on a regular basis with good, solid, relevant business reasons, those that are digging deeper inside of their sphere, that are understanding that person as being a human being as well. What's their favorite restaurant, how many kids they have, what are their names, what are their pets, all those things. You have all those reasons to keep in contact with those folks. Those relationships are going to foster more than ever, because we're going to see a lot of newer folks in the industry, and even some of our older folks in the industry that maybe don't understand how hard this job can be. And they just don't have the grit to become that upper echelon sales executive that we have in this industry. And so those folks, they're going to prosper. They're going to stick to their goals. Yep. They're going to do everything they need to do to hit their goals because it's in their mindset as to what they have to do. The market changes, not us, and not our sales executives.
Right. Yeah, and what you do, the foundational stuff stays the same, and I think that's incredible. Also, because you have a lot of interaction, as I do too, but you have probably a little bit more than I do with prosperity. So I've seen some really good things with prosperity. They're going out of their way. And, like everybody knows now, we're corporate owned, they're corporate owned. So, since I've been here, we've had 4 mortgage companies. This one's not changing. And I see some really good things happening with them.
I agreed, Rick. Agreed. Their programs are phenomenal. I won't do a big commercial on prosperity. That's not what we're here today for. Right. But I do. Right. I have weekly calls with the leadership team inside of Prosperity for our company. And we discuss what we're doing differently, how we're serving our consumers better, how we're serving our sales executives better. Because, let's just keep it real. It's the mortgage consultant / loan originator is really holding our sales executives' check at the end of the day. If they mess up, it's on our sales executive. And so just so everyone on this call and that listens to this podcast knows, we get it. And we have our thumb all over that thing because it is critical that the customer service, the integration that's taken place, the camaraderie, the integrity, everything is all in one place with that mortgage company, Prosperity. They have to stand on their own 2 feet. We're not going to feed them business just because they're corporate owned. We want to feed them business because they're the best in what they do and who they are. And what I'm seeing, Rick, to your point, I'm seeing that. The programs are ridiculously good. Their rates, and I don't know if you know this or not, I learned this 2 weeks ago. When everyone stopped locking, Prosperity kept locking. They're like, no, we'll lock your rates. We'll lock. And the shop and lock program, they'll lock for 90 days for you. And you don't even have to have a property.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You don't even need an address. They'll lock you in so you can go find a home. I'm like, oh my gosh. So there's some cool stuff. This isn't the place to go on too much about that today, Rick, but I am super excited about what I'm seeing with Prosperity. And I would just say, as a sales executive, if you're listening to this, take a look at them. Just go meet them. Just go ask them what they're up to and what they're doing. And you be the judge, not me, but you be the judge to see if they'll fit well into your business as we continue to help you build that thing.
Yep. Awesome. Well, perfect, Troy. We have about a minute left. So I thought any words of wisdom, final words you want to leave these lovely people today?
Yeah, you know what? Gosh, that's really put me on the spot right there, Rick. Wisdom's a tough word, but any takeaways? I think what I'll just say is this: the foundational aspects of our business are really no different than our sales executives' businesses. Mark started talking about it almost 20 years ago, and he says, we build brokerage inside of a brokerage, and this came from our sales executives, by the way. Mark had asked them, what do we need to do differently? And they all came up and said, look, we want to start building our own brokerage inside of your brokerage. And Rick, I think you've heard me say it a lot since I've been here. It's not just a brokerage. We want to build your business inside of a business. And so I think the biggest takeaway, if I can leave this, is our model, and most of you know this, and if you don't, get with your branch leaders and ask them to work with you on this, is we want to meet our sales executives where they're at, and we want to take them on a journey of building their business all the way from the beginning of what are your core values and beliefs, where's your mindset, do you have a database in place, are you marketing correctly? We want to take you on that journey to building an exit strategy and ultimately a sellable asset. That's why you're here. Yeah. We want to build your business, and I can't stress that enough, because if we're doing our job, we're supporting you and building something that you have that's a beautiful sellable asset whenever that time comes. So keep your minds right. Don't worry about the market. The market's going to do what the market does. Really really focus on what it is that you want to do and you want to accomplish. If the market share goes down, grab more of it at the end of the day.
Yep. Exactly right. Yeah, 100%. And we definitely, that's what we're here for, to help them do that. Well, hey, Troy, I really appreciate you taking your time out today. Everybody else will do this in a week. Troy, thanks for taking your time out. Everybody else, we'll talk soon. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks so much, everybody. Talk soon. Bye for now.